Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today, Bankrupt joined once again by Jimmy and Trevor.
Allegedly.
Hello.
In today's matchup, well, it's Jimmy versus Trevor. Jimmy's brought out Syn with no unisons, and Trevor's brought out Pycon, mainly because he asked what to play, and I said, you should play that one because I brought the other deck.
I think it's just like the Trevor special just to show up as some like random ass blue deck.
Yeah,
and it's like
so.
it's the scariest thing ever sitting across from Trevor anytime he's playing something like this because nobody's playing it. Nobody knows what the cards do. Trevor's the only one that knows what this deck does.
Man, he can lie to you, did.
I mean, exactly. That tends to happen a lot at our shop.
I wish I was that kind of person that could lie, but they'd see through it pretty quick.
So, there's buttons. Feel free to click them for different reasons. But let's get today's matchup. Before that, Jimmy, you want to talk about your mat?
No.
All right, cool. Pycon.
Yes, this mat was a custom mat. The artwork was made by the lovely Lauralee. You can find her at a tiny.bunny on Instagram. Bancroft will link everything down below. She has her commissions open. So hit her up for any of your mat needs. And that's just the artwork. To go ahead, the custom artwork, and then you have to get the mat printed. This is an ink gaming mat, and fantastic. I have no issues with this mat. It's great quality. We're not sponsored by them, but I will plug it because it is a great product.
Yeah, both you and Fluff got mats drawn and printed from them.
Mm-hmm. Or, well, drawn from
her, and then,
and then printed from there. And hopefully Fluff will be on camera soon so you can see his mat because it is also just as incredible.
Is it just me, or is this room's lighting better than the room that we always play in?
So, yeah, I felt like it was. So we have the back room of our shop finally kind of cleaned out, so we can play back there, which is awesome. It is a standing table, though. But it did feel like, when I was doing profiles back there, it did feel like it was better lit. Even though in the profiles you all see there is a glare. That's just happened by luck. But overall, I felt like the room was better, and maybe because it was closer to the light instead of being further away, so it was more spread. So
I kind of like the standing desk. It's kind of a different experience from playing the game. I enjoyed it.
Jake said the same thing.
Yeah, it's very fun. But Trevor, talk about Pycon. Tell us what this deck that nobody knows what it does.
Yeah, so it's a deck that runs a lot of extra cards that cost 1 because you can search them off your top 5 on your Awakened side swing. Basically, you're just going to kind of play defensive the first few turns just to set up your energy for your future turn plays. Basically, you make use of the Frieza and Cell to find each other, and then you want the Frieza and Cell in your energy to enable the 5-drop Pycon play, which goes into the 8-drop Pycon play. You typically want to try and do that turn 4. Kind of hard in the current meta to play this deck, unfortunately, with how powerful Red is, but also because Red literally has the #1 best counter to this deck, and the card's name is Violent Rays. Because all of your Pycons are 20k plus, and you try and go for kill with it, and they go Violent Rays, and you go okay past turn. But against everything else, I think the deck's actually like a lot of fun to play. God Sealing's a lot less prevalent right now because all the boss monsters have deflect. I don't run it because everything has deflect that you would typically want to hit, other than this 4-drop Syn, but this 4-drop Syn literally costs 1, so it doesn't really matter. But on the Awakened side, you do a little bit of scrying to kind of like get cards out of your hand onto the top of your deck, from your deck, the card that you might need. It really actually does come in quite handy to have that happen. Anytime you can scry and fix your hand, obviously you know you're going to draw it the next turn, but you might not need it that turn, but you might need it the next turn. So it's a lot of fun to play. some lines of play with the cell getting into your drop area to put it into your energy can sometimes be kind of convoluted, but it's a lot less complicated to play than when I initially first saw it.
I think when you revealed the Frieza off of your intersecting fates, which I don't remember if you had to reveal on intersecting fates. I don't know if it specifies a blue card or not. But when you revealed it, I went, "Oh, it's the Hellish Hellraiser deck," and then like I that was running through my mind the entire time, and I kept giggling at that idea, and I had to like actually stop myself from thinking that because I was not paying attention to the game and giggling about how stupid the fucking names for that deck is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Double strike crit and not paying attention.
I mean, it's Syn Shenron. You turn the big dragon sideways, and you put cards in the combo area. But when you charge the Demage turn 1, that was kind of like a AO, like this could be really good for me because I'm sure you were familiar with the deck, and when you charged the negate, I was like, okay, like maybe he's not familiar with the deck, and I'm gonna be able to just roll him. But then when you did the top 5 search, I was like, oh, that's why he charged that, because he basically has full access to all of his extra cards. And there was a whiff on turn 1, which was really, really unfortunate for you, especially after charging the Demage.
Yeah, and I just haven't played against Syn that much, and if I have, it's been with some of my other decks like Turtle School and Angel Coup or Halo Coup or Budo Coup, whatever the heck the people want to call it right now. So I totally just didn't even realize that this Syn could double strike crit me on turn 2. So had I realized that, I know I have a D-Magic in hand. I could have negated it, but I was like, I'll take a double so I can get down to Awaken to kind of soften future blows. But when you said crit, I was like, well, now I'm in trouble.
So we talk about a lot like how Gogeta feels ridiculous, but the fact that you could, if Syn goes first, the fact that you could just spam so many cards for just 1 energy gets a little bit ridiculous, especially when your opponent has almost nothing to do with it. 'Cause I think we talked about it in our video on Sunday between you and Jake talked about like initially how that just felt disgusting. Like he couldn't do anything because he went first, or sorry, you went first. So on his turn 1, he played a 1-drop and then got fucked.
Yeah, the amount of pressure that this deck can push through with so little energy, and with these cards having so many good keyword skills on them, I think that's where the deck gets like really dumb. And there was some semblance of balance. Also, shout out to Bancroft eating in the background.
They're not gonna hear that shit. Shut the fuck up.
We can hear it. We can hear every bit of it. We hear all that crinkling and shit.
That's just a rap from a spoon, but go on.
Oh yeah, whatever you say. You motherfucker eating the spoon.
With the cookout.
But yeah, they're edible. But there was some semblance of balance on the non-Dread Destroyer Syn Shenron, that your opponent has to be at 2 or more energy to get the pop and come back into place. I feel like that shouldn't have been 2 energy. Like 3 energy is probably where that should be, because the amount of pressure that you can put when your opponent is at 1 energy, and then like you double that pressure on when they're at 2 energy, is a little too much.
And I was thinking, like, even if they're activate mains, like, because they're activate mains, as long as you just have the 6 cards in your Z energy, which is your awakening condition, you're good. Seeing how quick this deck can be potentially a turn 2 deck if you just get the right cards. That maybe that activate main should be when your opponent has 2 energy as well. Like, it still costs 1 energy to play, but it gives that buffer there for at least we've seen a lot of decks that kill turn 2, turn 3, but I will hit those decks by some degree. That might be a fix for it. I don't know how many other people are running into the issue, but when tournaments are showing 2/3 of their events red, might be a problem.
Yeah. Jimmy obviously knows I was tilted as hell playing against this deck. I hate playing against this deck. It's not fun for me. Maybe because I'm a blue player and I like going, turn 3, 4 plus. I just felt like I couldn't play the game with this deck because it just doesn't stabilize until turn 3. But at this point, I'm at 1 life, so like, how much stabilization can I do outside of a baby hatch? So if comments see a billion misplays, just know it's because I was tilted off the face of the planet. And if I wasn't on camera, I would have scooped already.
Like blue is one of the harder matchups for red right now. Blue seems to be the color with the most built-in answers for it. So even though I am setting comfortably with 4 battle cards on field, and then at 5 life, I was still worried about what this deck could do. With blue, you basically have with 3 energy, you might as well have 6 energy. And plus Trevor being a fantastic blue player, I was really, really worried that I was about to just get blitzed on right here. This Dead Heat card is so damn good.
Yeah, this card's great. However, I talked to Jimmy about it after the game, and I was mentioning how tilted I was. There's a much better play I could have done this turn. In the Cell Z battle card.
Yeah.
I would have been able to put so much more pressure on him because I would have removed all 4 of his cards, had a double strike or a triple strike crit as leader. Mm-hmm. Whereas this, I'm removing 2 cards and dealing at most 2 damage, but I'm getting those cards into his hand. So it would have been a much better play than what I actually did here. So make sure you utilize your Z deck because would have been at least made the turn a lot more interesting than what I currently have set up.
So here's a question then. I cannot recall off the top of my head. Is the Frieza the one where it doesn't cost you anything, but you put a card from your hand into the how's that one work again? Is that the free one to switch out?
As far as so the cell taps 1 blue, you choose a card in your energy, you place it in your drop area, you pick the cell out of your drop, put it in your energy, and then you restand 1 blue. So it's free. Frieza, to get it into your energy, you have to drop a card, so it negs. So you want to charge Frieza, and then if you can't charge Cell, you play Cell turn 1 and then combo it off. That way it's in your drop area to use its effect from the drop into your energy.
Well, my curiosity was going in the idea of with it being a blue deck with 1 life, there's not much you can do if you can't on the crackback, because you can't spark a D magic, so you're focused on whatever's in your hand. If you tap out, then it kind of gives Jimmy the idea, okay, cool, this could be game then. But if you leave 1 energy open, there's always that hope, like where blue could just keep itself going with just that 1 energy.
Yeah. I mean, it is probably a better play if I'm trying to win. But if my hand is doo-doo butter, which I think it kind of is right now, then at least playing a card that makes the match more interesting with that Cell Z battle card would have been more fun.
I forget that you can how'd you resend energies? The 4-drop or your leader?
The 4-drop.
Okay. 4-drop, yeah.
You draw 1, restand 1 at the end of the turn.
So good.
I mean, that may have been the better play then. I mean, granted, he, not knowing what Jimmy's hand is, can easily reestablish battle cards with no problem for 1 energy apiece. But this gives you a kind of a fighting chance right now.
I think it was at some point in this in this game. Now that we're nearing the end of the video, as you can see at the timestamp, where I am like way overthinking this blue matchup. and I think you just say to me, you're like, swing, just turn a card sideways.
Yeah,
And
I'm at 1 life. I have 1 card in hand at some point.
Oh.
I'm like, just freaking kill me, please.
Well, I'm like this deck. I have no clue what it can do, and blue being such a scary matchup for red, I was looking at the now 3 energy open, your Z Awaken, and like I just didn't think to ask how many cards you had in hand, and you were just like, I only have like 1 card or 3 cards in hand, bro. Just like swing. Also, if you're not running this Royal Evolution Vegeta in your Syn deck, you need to, because this card is fantastic. Like, absolutely huge when it goes off.
These Delusion Powers are such good cards in the meta right now.
Mhm.
With how many decks can combo from the drop. Sure, you don't get the additional +5, but it's a 10 and then a 5 again later. I think people are really sleeping on using those cards as much as they are presently.
Mhm. Yeah. Especially the red one, like how just basically a super combo, like
Yeah.
that's just crazy. That's just crazy.
And as long as you're using your double strike crits, you're good.
Yeah. It basically allows you to run 8 super combos in a list. I mean, if you minus the draw, like you're running 8 super combos, which is just dumb in a deck that can push double strike crits like Syn can.
Yeah. I think Fluff ended up just doing 3 in his deck, but I mean, yeah, it's still ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I'm at 3 as well.
So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep on his buttons down below. Feel free to click there for a reason, because I know Jimmy won't. Trevor, would you like to lead us out?
Why don't you ever let me do the outro?
Because you don't.
I'll do the outro.
I'm giving Trevor the honor.
All right, well, it was a very one-sided match, but it was fun nonetheless. I promise Pycon's better than this match shows. I did go 2-1 on the night. Make sure that you all read your cards, know your plays. We made the mistakes so you don't have to, and fluff out.